Okay, so good morning, everyone. In fact, good afternoon now. So I hope you're all keeping well. Am I audible to all of you? Can you just quickly confirm by raising your hands? Great. So welcome all to the webinar on CPA. So let me introduce myself for first couple of minutes. So I'm Manobhav Verma, Chartered Accountant and a CPA, qualified CA in 2004, CPA in 2008, and I'm teaching CPA since then. So last 13 years, I'm into CPA training, worked with corporates also for almost 10 years with companies like KPMG, EXL Services, Whirlpool, and presently for last few years, I'm into, kind of various, visiting faculties or a professorship roles with a couple of colleges, with also guest faculty with Institute of Chartered Accountants. I'm with EduPristine for almost last 8 years, since 2013, taking care of a lot of international courses like CPA, CMA, the IFRS, or even in Indian accounting taxes courses as well. So that's about me, guys, and I can see there are a lot of students who are looking forward for a much knowledge enriching session for CPA, and I'm sure you guys want to understand more about CPA, and that's what probably you are here. Maybe what we can also do is let's set the tone for this particular webinar. I'm sure you all might have some questions during the webinar. I always want these sessions to be a two-way traffic. Obviously, you are most welcome to ask your questions. But what we can do is, like, you can give first 40 minutes to me, and then I can give rest of the 15 minutes to you. Is what I mean is that maybe a lot of questions you may have in your mind could be answered by my subsequent slides. I hope that is very logical, right? So even if it is not answered, then of course you can put across your questions on the Q&A panel. Whatever I can answer, I will definitely be able to do in the session. And if something which I need to defer to the coordinators, they can get back to you, or you can email them as well. So that's what the tone will be, and I'm sure you will be learning a lot about CPA. And don't you mind if it's okay with all of you, maybe just one liner about your background on the Q&A panel, please? Can you just do that? Just your background, what are your backgrounds? You can give me on your Q&A panel. In the meantime, I must congratulate you all actually for being here. Obviously, you are here for a reason. That's the first step towards becoming a CPA, to do an inquiry about an international course, and that privileged course, just like a CPA, right? So Devashish says he's a MCom and MBA finance. Good, Devashish. So I'm pretty much sure that a CPA would not be a cherry over cake, but rather the cake itself. I hope you understand that, right? So good, welcome to the session. Devashish, and I can see there are many more students. I will be reading your backgrounds in between. So yeah, I was congratulating you to be on this session, guys. And honestly speaking, if you are pondering around a question that whether I should do CPA or not, okay, let me ask this question. How many of you are thinking as of now, should I do CPA or not? Can you raise your hands? Can you raise your hands, please? If you are thinking that whether I should do CPA or not. No one is raising their hands. Okay, I can see now a couple of hand raises. Now, those of you are still wandering around, if you want to do CPA or not. First of all, I think you are pondering on a wrong question. Trust me on that. I'm telling you out of my experience. I'm telling you out of more than a decade's experience. I've seen industry evolving. I think you are pondering with a wrong question. The question should be, let me rephrase the question now. The question should be that whether I can afford not to do CPA. Whether someone today in a finance domain working in India or abroad, can they afford to not to be a CPA qualified person in today's world? I think if you think from that perspective, logically you'll get the answer that you don't have a choice now. 5 years back, if I was running through this session, I would have still said that it's a good career option. But I think today it's a career necessity, because whatever a company will be working with will have their tie-ups, or the company itself would be a US company. And not only from a US standpoint, but this particular privileged course is a global recognized course. I hope you know that. So let's start our session. Let's have the ball rolling. And as I said, just give first 35 minutes or so to me, and then I will give rest of the 15 minutes to you, right? So let's walk around through agenda of the day. Of course, we'll be talking about what is CPA, about the exam details, what are the requirements. Of course, we have the number one trustworthy material. That's the Beckers with EduPristine. Yes, I think common question you may have with respect to eligibility. I request you all to not discuss much about eligibility, because eligibility may different states have different requirements. So there is a separate team at EduPristine who works for the eligibility thing. So later on after the session, you can email your education background to your care@edupristine.com and or even the coordinators will call themselves to you, and you can check about your eligibility, because I'm not the best person to guide you only on eligibility. I'm the best person to guide you on the academic requirements, and not only that, what the course is all about, right? So we'll talk about all these. So what a CPA, what are the benefits and opportunities? I already told you that I've seen the corporate world evolve from 2005 like anything, right? You have a many corporates, US companies having their shared services, a lot of BPOs, who are having an outsourcing processes, and the best part is, most of you are a graduate or an MBA finance. I think you have a good opportunity that you can get an international qualification within less than a year if you plan it properly, trust me, right? So now, the very important fact here on the third point here, as per the AICPA, that's our alma mater, American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, they have predicted that, okay, across the decades, there were many CPAs. But yes, as the age progresses, they expect almost 70% plus CPAs to be retiring in the next decade or so. Don't you think that opens up a lot of doors for you guys? I'm pretty much sure, right? And of course, with the fintech roles evolving, with the technology enablement, I'm sure that anyways the role of the finance guys is becoming important, right? So of course, honestly speaking, if you think from a cost benefit analysis, even your first year package will kind of recover your cost involved at least 3 to 4 times. Trust me on that, right? So because I'm sure you will be getting good packages, and I'm assuming like some of you might be freshers, some of you might carry some experience with yourself as well, right? So I'm sure from an earning perspective, don't even think. If I recall my starting package back in 2009, it was almost 10 lakhs. I'm talking about 2009, guys. Then of course we're talking about 2021. Depends on the opportunities, depends on the company, depends on your background. Of course, those are the factors. But yes, being a CPA will definitely give you an edge, not only at the start of your careers, but any stage you are. I'm sure some of you might be actually already working in a corporate. You are stuck at a particular level. You want to upskill yourself. It's a career advancement stage. What better time can be a pandemic post-consequential impact zone? Because what's happening is last 1.5 years, companies have gone through recessions. There had been, due to lockdown, situations have become a little bit scarce in terms of opportunities. But do you think that the things will remain as is? And I'm sure that the era of kind of recouping and getting back to a normalization levels are actually starting now. And that's the time where you can actually upskill yourselves, and so that when the opportunities are back to their normal, you are already qualified. So that's how you should plan actually, right? So of course, from a demand perspective, these are the areas, guys, in which the financial jobs are spread virtually. It could be FP&A, it could be risk and compliance like SOX, internal audit. Then audit, of course, some of you have some audit experience working in Big Four, or we're talking about financial controllership. You're looking forward for closing and reporting of the financial statements, SEC reporting, local reporting or statutory reporting or whatever. You're just involved in the closing of the financial statements of various companies. Look about treasury and tax. That's also another area. Because see, when we'll be talking about the subjects, you will be the knowledge, subject level knowledge you will be gaining. It's not restricted to accounting. It's not restricted to auditing. It's not restricted to even tax. It goes beyond that. We'll be talking about budgeting also. We'll be talking about management accounting. We'll be talking about IT also. What else you need, right? So, so all these, factors will kind of, make you eligible to work around in different domains, right? So now, what are the benefits? Again, you know that, as I said, there are many companies which are US based, which are listed in US. There are many companies who have their parent companies in US. There are various outsourcing organizations. There are many KPOs and BPOs. I think the best part is two aspects of CPA is one is the time to complete. As I said, if you can plan it properly, you will take less than a year. Trust me, if you plan properly, you can be a CPA within a year time. Then, of course, very important point is the way the examination is structured. I will talk about that later. It's about answer generally is in front of you, because especially when the MCQs are concerned. Diverse opportunities, we saw that on the last slide. And as I said, that the most important part is wherever in the world you are, if you are a CPA, you are a respected professional. Trust me on that. And of course, as I said, it could be at a starting level of your careers, it could be at a middle level management, or it could be at a senior level management as well. Right. So those are from an opportunity standpoint. Let's talk about some examples here. Okay, so you will be seeing some examples of various job opportunities in terms of various corporates, what all profiles require CPAs. Let me share a very interesting background, friends. What used to be the scenarios in job descriptions almost 10 years back. I still remember in most of the job descriptions, the job description could read as a qualification requirement as a CA or a CPA, MBA or a CPA. The change I have seen, and this change have been, right from year 2016 or 17 onwards, like last 3 to 4 years, the change has been in the job descriptions where the or word is eliminated. They would say preferably a CA and a CPA, or they will say preferably MBA and a CPA. So that or is replaced by and. That indicates that because of the US tie-ups, most of the opportunities kind of have CPA as a mandatory requirement in addition to whatever you are already possessing. Trust me, you can see that for a VP level, they want multiple level of qualifications, right? And of course, from an experience perspective, a VP of a company would be, kind of expected to understand across the function knowledge of any corporates. That's from Barclays, right? What about this McAfee, senior accountant? So the VP level was the topmost at the level. Now here you're looking at maybe a starting level or maybe a starting middle level career, senior accountant, like around 3 to 4 years of experience, right? Maximum. So individual should be a CA or a CPA or a CMA degree. So even at a starting level, they're talking about a CPA should be there, even for a starting level. Can you imagine? Now, and you will see most of the job descriptions, the word or will not be there, preferably and will be there. Now, of course, this is again from a senior accountant, and they're talking about someone who has worked on the US GAAP, tax compliances. Again, even you can look at the last line here, your MS Office, ERP, SAP, and that's why the IT section of the BEC paper becomes very important, right? KPMG, you can see again CPA as one of the preferred ones. Again, this is a starting level job in KPMG, which they're looking for audit or advisory firm. They are looking for someone having some kind of an accounting and reporting experience also, and also the audit experience. So again, Big Fours anyways have a door open. Big Fours will always have a wide open arms like a Shah Rukh Khan style for anyone who is qualified CPA, and just come to us and just join us. There will be always some or the other opportunity for us, right? Now this is again in Hyderabad in some of the industry, in infrastructure company. Again, you can see that at the last line in the qualification, they are saying that, okay, it's an internal audit job, but in the qualification, you can see CPA, CIA preferred. So that they're preferring an international qualification, guys. Right? So somehow the CTC can differ. I think it's too less in this one, but I disagree, because 4 to 5 years experience, I can expect at least 10 lakhs to be a package these days, right? What about the other one? Senior accounting manager, Amazon. Wow. So you're looking for a 12 plus years of experience. So that's almost a senior middle level management, right? So we're looking for a CPA, and they specifically mentioned that CPA license may not be required. See, because CPA license is generally required when you are working in a CPA practice firm in US, or where you have to sign or authenticate the audit reports, right? Otherwise, just clearing the exams is sufficient generally. So, so they're talking about this particular job requires understanding of the internal controls, your accounting standards, whether it's Ind AS, US GAAP, or IFRS, right? So all that will be studied in the CPA examination as well. Now, this is, you can see again, core energy, another industry job. CPA, highly desirable. So even if they mention or, but they're mentioning highly desirable. So they would, if there are 3 candidates for a particular job, one is having two of them are having an MBA and a CA, and the third one is also a CPA, you know who will be preferred, right? Again, another example for internal audit manager. Here again, CA, CPA, or then another masters they're looking for, minimum 5 years of experience. NTS Group, Dubai. So I was talking about international opportunities, guys. It's not about only India. Wherever you are, you will get opportunities. So international jobs in front of you, right? So then we are talking about, CPA has always been in demand. Of course, when you took, look at your various, trends, hiring trends, you could see that these are the, when we talk about from an in-demand certification, CPA is right at the top here. And of course, as I said, that what are the various roles you just saw in the job description, right? Accountant, senior accountant, assistant manager, senior analyst, financial controller, senior manager, VP. I think you will be at some stage of your career right now. Either you are a fresher or you are already working. You would find a fitment for you. Of course, we understand that always a corporate, it's a pyramid. As you grow up to the ladder, the opportunities get lesser, and that's where the qualification comes into the picture. Because of the opportunity at a senior level are lesser. Like you may have 100 openings for an associate, you may have 5 openings for a VP. But if you are having a rich experience plus a CPA, why will not you be considered, right? So you can see that from some interesting thoughts from Shanghai. You can see that they also talked about what has happened in the recent past from an employer's perspective. After their local qualification, they're looking for a CPA. That's what they're talking about here, right? Again, it's an older article though, but I think in the last 4 or 5 years, the things have actually gone much more vast. Okay, so let's talk about, so after we have had a discussion on some bit of opportunities, let's talk about the exam itself. Now there are 3 E's you need to understand. Now obtaining a CPA license, the end result in case you want to hold a license, right? Now as I said, based on the eligibility requirements, similarly for CPA license requirements, different states have different requirements. So we'll talk about license later on. First objective is your understanding the entire curriculum. So you have education, you have exam, you have experience. So there are 3 things which you need to comply. So education is bare minimum, right? And as you can see at the nucleus at the center, every state is unique. What does that mean? California may have their own requirements. State of Montana may have their own requirements. New Hampshire will have their own requirements. Guam will have their own requirements. Own requirements means like some state would say that BCom and a first year of a MCom would do. Some state would say, no, we need at least a BCom and an MBA or MCom completely qualified masters. So that is where your specialist team will help you, whether you are eligible or from which state you are eligible. That's a better call, right? So basically from an education background perspective, general rule is you need 150 credit hours, which generally is a 5-year college education. That generally means like 3+2. Only few states are there who kind of allow you to sit in the exam for a BCom and a first year masters, and that's where your 120 or less credit hours are required. Now, what are these credit hours? Now they have their measurement scale, right? You have a kilogram to a ton. Yeah, they have their measurement scale. They will see your transcripts. The state boards will see your transcripts. What are the subjects you have studied in which year? What are the scores you have got? On that basis, they will be giving you some credits. And if you are eligible, you are making a 120 or a 150 credits, not only from a total perspective, but also at an individual perspective in subjects like accounting, taxation, audit, and all. So that's something which is there as a prerequisite. Indian BCom graduates, I think that's mostly most of you are so accepted by California, Virginia, Tennessee. Now the only requirement is that it should be an A-ranked university, and again, if you're talking about from a perspective of requirement of a second or a third year, There is also a requirement in the graduation that you should have some subjects like a financial accounting, auditing, taxation. In case you don't have subjects, then you may have to have a additional requirement of an MCOM as well. Right, so you can see that BCom plus MCom plus or a BCom plus MBA Alaska, BCom plus CA or ICWA. So you have a BCom and you have a membership certificate of these bodies. You are accepted in a California or Alaska. Now, the point is again, the point is also depending on where you are sitting in the examination. Now, the things have changed since last year because your examinations are now being held in India as well. And that's why I said that I am not talking about much time here on the eligibility front, guys. For eligibility, you will have detailed discussion with your coordinators later on because each of you might be having different backgrounds, right? So they will tell you what are the present rules, because these rules also change every second year or so. Every state will have their different rules. So these, again, as I said, they're different states. These are the states we are talking about, different jurisdictions, which you could also look at this link again on the Becker's website. What are different jurisdictions where you can apply for, right? Now, what are the steps to become a US CPA? One of the most important slides for you, right? So the first one step is your checking your eligibility, whether you qualify and you qualify with which particular state. And once you kind of understand, okay, hey, that you are eligible for this particular state, you will go for your transcripts from your Delhi or Indian universities. You will send your transcripts for the evaluations. One, you will be getting the credits. Then you will be applying for the examination. And once you apply for the examination, that means payment of the examination fees. They will give you a NTS. NTS means notice to schedule your exam. They are notifying you that, hey, now you are ready. Now you can schedule your exam, but we will be giving you only 6 months. Once you receive your NTS, you have to appear in the exams within 6 months. Now you can appear in the exam in any order. You can appear in the exam like 2 exams at a time, 1 exam at a time. With the exams being held in India, many students are preferring like 1 exam at a time, and they clear that in 1 every quarter and they become a CPA. That's what they're doing. Some of the students I know, those of you who are not working, can actually think of 2 exams at a time and actually done with the CPA in 8 to 10 months. That's also possible. So of course, you qualify first, you apply, then you prepare, you kind of simultaneous. That's a simultaneous exercise. Kind of you prepare your subjects for almost like 2 to 3 times, schedule your exams, and then of course you pass the exam. And then in case you want to have a license, then there is also additional requirement of appearing in an ethics exam. And of course, some states also require your work experience. So those are the additional requirements for getting the license for CPA. So that's something, again, the eligibility will help you. Now, one of my favorite slides, this is where I come from, right? So I'm sure some of you might be interacting with me once you get enrolled for CPA, because we will be going through all these courses, all these classes. So right now, let's say we're talking about a batch is going on for regulation, there is a batch is going on for a BEC. So you have different batches going on online till the time the pandemic kind of recovers. But yes, this is the most important slide. Those of you who are not sure of the content of CPA, this is the slide you want to look for. 4 subjects, guys. First subject, auditing and attestation. Second, business environment and concepts. Third, financial accounting and reporting. And fourth is regulation. And let me tell you the constituents. Auditing, of course, you will be talking about a lot of stuff on the audit report, audit process, internal controls, substantive procedures, even governmental audits, other engagements other than audit like review, preparation, compilation. That's audit for you. And in every exam, you will see there are certain simulations and certain TBS. Now, TBS stands for task-based simulations. That's nothing but a case study. They will give you a case study and there will be a lot of questions based on that. And the way these are weighted is 50% weightage is for the MCQs and 50% is for the TBS simulations. And you can see at the right-hand side, there are testlets. Testlet means like parts. Like in India, you have part A, part B, section A, section B. Now, in the computerized examination, friends, once you submit testlet 1, you go to the testlet 2, you can't come back to testlet 1. Once you submit each and every testlet, you go ahead. That's a very important point to know. Now, audit, I told you. Next, I will talk about financial accounting and reporting. Now, financial accounting and reporting is an exam where we talk about a lot of US GAAP, as the name suggests, accounting. They also talk about the commercial organization. They also talk about the governmental organizations. Third one I would like to talk about is regulation. Now, regulation may you will be covering a US tax and law, guys. US tax and law. So it has two parts: taxation and law, business law. Fourth subject, which is actually second number here, is business environment concept. Everything else comes here, guys. It's a residual subject for us. Like in BEC, you will have economics, you will have financial management, you will have costing, you will have a bit of risk governance, you will have IT. So everything else comes under BEC, guys. Now, you can see that there are slight variations in the number of questions in all the subjects, like 72, like 36 MCQs, 2 testlets in audit, and you have a 38 each in regulation, and so on. So you have four exams here, 4 subjects, and you can give exams in any order, right? So the only thing is that in BEC, you can see there is something different from TBS as well, that is written communication. That's where they can ask you to write a memo or an essay or on a particular topic. Okay, so basically from a current version, again, we need to understand that, the point is recently they have been kind of testing too much from an analytical front and also in communication sections as well. So how they are talking about currently is they are looking for, overall blend of knowledge in all of you, right? So what are the skill levels they are testing here, guys? So of course, these are the skill levels: remembering, application, analysis, and evaluation. Now, my focus generally when I'm taking my batches is on application analysis, because see, of course, when you are attending a batch, you would be focusing on conceptual grasp, so that when you look at the questions, you can apply, you can analyze your learnings out of those sections to gauge more or higher scores. Because in the examination, of course, you may or may not get similar questions, right? So these are the skill levels, which of course you will be kind of growing from the bottom to the top. One of the slides, again, we talk about each of the areas, how much each section is kind of testing. Again, you can see evaluation is only being talked about audit, because that's where you're kind of giving a conclusion, what kind of a report you want to issue, right? Other than that, mostly you can see the application and analysis is more heavily embedded, right? So look at BEC. Application and analysis is almost 80 to 90%. Look at FAR, it's again 70 to 80%. Regulation, again, almost 70%. So application analysis is the most important part. Of course, remembering and understanding is something you have been doing from your school book days. That's something your own study will do. But in the classes, while you will be attempting the questions, this is application analysis that becomes very important. Now, this is again 4 subjects content allocation, guys. This is from the US CPA blueprint, where you have like what are the areas that are being tested. Let's take an example of a FAR. They talk about like standard setting. They talk about the financial accounting statements. They're talking about transactions, local and state government. So let's say you have 10 chapters in accounting. So let's say a standard setting and the conceptual reporting is, let's say, first 2 chapters. So that's 25% for you. Financial statement accounts is like, for example, chapter number 3 to 6. That's 30, almost 30%. And then transactions, again, throughout all the chapters, you have some transactions. Last 2 chapters in the FAR is governmental accounting. So that's where you're talking about 15% testing. Again, in BEC, they are giving you corporate governance, economics, financial management. So message is clear. You can't go with the preparation of an Indian education style that you pick some chapters or leave others. You can see everything has some weightage. You can't just leave any chapter, right? So that's the question content allocation. Again, this is again a sample of a blueprint which I was talking about, guys. What are the areas they are testing? So from these blueprints, this particular slide was made, right? And now this is very important for you. Examination timeline. As I said, once you will be submitting examination fees, you will be applying for exam. You will be getting a notice to schedule. Now that's valid for 6 months. So you have to be very careful. If I am planning my first exam in the month of January, guys. Now today's August. Let me say that I want to appear in January 22. Now, if I want to appear in January 22, the eligibility team or the support team will tell me that these days, and the US guys are taking almost 2 to 3 weeks in processing NTS. Once you submit the fees, within 2 weeks, you generally get your NTS. So what I will do is, if I have to appear the exam in January, I will apply for that NTS in the month of first week of November, maybe, so that I get the NTS by 3rd week of November at max. That will do 2 things. My NTS will not only be valid till January, will be valid actually till April, because God forbid if I'm not able to give the exam in January, I have some months. I don't apply too much in advance, because if I apply for NTS in September, that's expiring in February, guys. That's a risk. So also you can't delay it to the last month, because then you will not get the slots like Book My Show. You will have to, pick your center and book your slots. So NTS application ideally should be like 2 months in advance, not more than that. Then there is a very important point you guys need to know, that on the date your first exam result comes out. Let's say you appeared for FAR for the very first exam, and let's say your result came on 10th of February and you scored 90. Now from 10th February 2022, 18 months is the time period where you have to also complete other 3 exams. Otherwise you will lose your credit of FAR, guys. 10th Feb result is out. So 18 months from that, you can calculate 10th Feb 2023 and further 6 months. So 10th August, before 10th August 23, you have to be a CPA. Who is worried about that? I am not. Are you? I'm actually not worried about 18 months. As I said, we will prepare you, or will guide you to make your study plan in such a way that you kind of complete your CPA in less than 12 months, right? That's our attempt would be with you guys as a team. So, so you can see that some pointers kind of, mentioned at the bottom, and the most beautiful statement is actually the last one. Continuous testing is happening in India from January 21, right? Generally, otherwise, before pandemic, the examinations never happened throughout the year. It was like first 2 months of a quarter and 10 days of the third month. So Jan, Feb, 1st to 10th March, April, May, 1st to 10th June, July, August, 1st to 10th September. But right now there is a continuous testing, because you never know, because of the lockdown, centers closed down, and then there are no exams. So right now there is a continuous testing happening. So you can see that what's happening here is they're giving a tentative idea. So for example, if you're giving an exam from April to May, you're getting your results. In fact, these days, to be very honest, my observation is that generally you will get results pretty earlier. You can see that at the second testing window, where they're talking about the Q3. If you're giving your exams till 10th September, you're getting the results around 20th. So that the point is that these days the results release is generally in 2 to 3 weeks. So that's very, very, very healthy actually, right? So you get to know where you stand. Okay, so again, these are just on the basis of what's happening in the recent past, guys. Whenever you are giving the exam, you can see it's approximately 2 weeks or even less in some times, right? When you are giving the exam and when is your result out. Now, this is a little bit of the examination that, as I said, when you are appearing in the computerized exam, when you are appearing in first tested, you're going into the second, you can't go back to the first. Once you submit one section, you can't go back to the previous one. So be careful. Time management is also very important. Also, there is a kind of a story in the air that, if your first tested is easy, the second has to be difficult. You can see on the screen, but why do I care? I am prepared for anything, right? I'm prepared. The course applicable course is the same for the first tested and also for the second tested. Why should I worry about the difficulty level? Yeah, but the most important point is I need to practice. See, there is old saying, right? Old age saying, practice makes what? Practice makes? No, practice makes perfect, not men perfect. It has to be men and women both, right? So practice makes perfect. So more and more you practice, I am sure you are doing good. So, so this is another important slide, guys, for you guys to know what is the structure of the examination now. You can say that total, all the 4 subjects are 4 hours each. Now, you have 5 testlets in each of the exams. First is MCQ, second is MCQ. Then there is a first testlet, then there is second and third. Now, third testlet for BC exam is a written communication, because that's the difference I told you. But you can see there is an orange arrow at the bottom. Now, your exam is of 4 hours. They will give you a mandatory break of 15 minutes after you complete the third testlet. Now, if you want to take break before or after, that's your time. Your clock will run. Like, for example, you want to go to washroom after second testlet, your time is catching up, right? You have to just hurry up and come back, because clock is not stopping for you. So it's better that you freshen up yourselves and then start your exam and then utilize that break, guys. That break is of 15 minutes. Let's say someone says that I don't want to take a break. I want to continue. I'm in a good momentum. I would say that's a big risk because if you end your break, your time will again continue. So 15 minutes break, you can end that break in 2 minutes. You can end that break in 12 minutes. Your time will resume after that. Or if you take a longer break, automatically the clock will resume after 15 minutes. So I hope that makes sense. Also, they're giving you an indication that roughly around beyond that point, first testlate. So once you're completing the 3 testlates, they are giving you a break, then you have 2 testlets more. So what is your imagination? So they're expecting you to be roughly around there in 2 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes, right? Kind of interval. So that also gives you a time management scenario that generally for an MCQ, you should not be taking more than 1.5 minutes. That's how you have to calculate and plan your time, because if you are delaying your third testlet beyond 2 hours, 10 minutes, you are leaving less time for the last 2 testlets. Because if I am spending 130 minutes in the first 3, I am also to do 2 testlets in the rest 110 minutes, guys. Each of the simulation generally take 20 minutes. Generally, it could take 15, it could take 25, on an average 15 to 20 minutes. So that's an important slide, I guess. So this is again an example of what the task-based simulation looks like. There are a lot of questions which comes in the simulation, guys. They can give you an abstract case study. They can give you financials. They can give you ask questions on that, schedules. This is an example of a document review simulation. Now, sometimes what they do is they will give you an audit report in which, or they will give you a memo just like this. They're giving you a abstract from the reports. In this, what they will do is they will kind of underline or change the color of certain lines. If you have to click on that, you have multiple options. Do you agree with that statement? Do you want to delete that statement, or do you want to change that statement to something else? You can see that it's a kind of a multiple choice question for me. I will have some exhibits. I will have some financial statements where I can see these numbers. Is SG&A of 5398 making sense to me? If not, I will have other options. Let's say it's not 5398, it's actually kind of related to some kind of unrealized loss. So I will go for a third option then. Or let's say that this statement is not making sense to me. I will delete the text. That text is not required, unnecessary. But of course, you have to be pretty mature, guys. And again, as I say, practice makes perfect. So this is again the exhibit I'm talking about, right? So exhibit means attachments. So they're asking you these questions based on some attachment. So they will be giving you a memo. They will be giving you 4 or 5 attachments, like in an email. You can open each of those attachments and then you have to answer that question. So practice of these questions becomes very important, because you have to practice it so well so that you can answer every simulation in 15 to 20 minutes. Another question which comes except in BEC, guys, research-based simulation. Now, what is this? Okay, BC except in audit, in FAR, in regulation, you're not expected to remember by heart accounting standard, regulation, the Income Tax Act section. No. You're not expected. Auditing standard, no. They will give you the requirement. You look at this question. The financial officer offers the Lenny financial offers credit cards to the students at a variable rate on an outstanding balances. The company also charges annual fees. Which authoritative literature talks about the revenue recognition? Now, you will be given an intranet. Intranet means you will be given something to search, some intranet, some forum to search, where you will be going to FASB or IRS, depending on which exam you are appearing. If it is regulation, it is IRS. If it is US GAAP, FAR, it is FASB. There you will have search options. You have to identify which standard we are talking about, that standard number you can search and quote here. Let's say it's FASB ASC 125.13 subsection D clause 2, something like that. So that's something you need not memorize. They will ask you, you have to search and put that down. Okay. Another slide which kind of makes you feel interesting. Look at that, guys. Can you see a change in trend from Q1 2020, guys? Can you see a change in trend from Q1 2020? Earlier, now this is again the situation where how many students actually pass CPA? For me, as a trainer, I don't even believe in this. If you are well prepared, if you are prepared at least 3 times, you have done your course at least 3 times, why you will look at this? You have more than 90% possibility of passing the CPA exam if you are practiced well. Okay, let's take out average of all the students. Some students prepare too much well, some students are not well prepared. On an average, you can see these rates till Q1 2020 was around 50% or even below. Look at the rates, how it kind of increased from Q2. Even 2021 rates, you can look at the website. They are now way above 60, 70 in case of BEC as well. Regulation 76. That shows how students like you have been smart enough since the pandemic started last year, have now started to upskill themselves by appearing in CPA. More and more students have opted for this course, right? So it's a very good example, guys, for you all. Now, why Becker's? Now, Becker's is the most trustworthy. Trust me, when I did my CPA in 2008, I studied Becker's. So I've been teaching since then with Becker's. So you can see that, how many students have been, since 2005, almost 90% of the awards are with the Becker's. It has been into decades. You can see that, all the corporates, big fours kind of have, tie-ups with Becker's. And what all you get in Becker's, you will get your books, you will get your online access, you will have the, there you can practice, I think almost more than 2000 questions every subject. So 7,000 to 8,000 questions you have, simulations you have, 3 practice exams per session also you have. There is also a interactive study planner which will help you. You know that what is your schedule, are you working or not? So you can give yourself timelines, right? So that's very important point. Then it will also give you where you're standing, right? How much questions you have attempted, what is your score. That's the holistic approach for you. Then they're having a very, very good videos also. Now this is an important point. We will have sessions with EduPristine. Like for example, I am training CPAs for last 13 years. There are other faculties with almost similar experiences in other states. I am from Delhi. Now, apart from our lectures, there are recorded videos of recorded lectures in this Becker's online access, and you will also have our colleagues. You have Tim Garrity on the video here. You have our favorite Peter Olento. They will also have their pre-recorded videos. You can refer to them as well. And practice. As I said, what makes perfect? Practice makes perfect. So a lot of MCQs like these. Not only that, it's important that you know why the answer is correct, but I think my understanding is when you're starting your studies, you should also be focused on why a particular answer is incorrect. That will give you more learning, guys. Mock exam. So there are 3 mock exams, guys. This mock exam will be actually mirroring the actual live CPA exam. So 3 mock exams per subject. So I generally request students that when you are preparing a particular subject for once, the first time, that's an introduction phase. Maybe you're not ready for the mock exam then, but we recommend students to do the course at least 3 times. So when you're done the course second time, the first revision, there you can attempt 1 or 2 mock exams and keep 1 mock exam for the later stage. Right? It's actually mirroring how the actual CPA exams look like. So it's a time where you have to lock yourself in a room, tell your parents that you're not at home, you're in an examination, create an examination environment for yourself. Shut down your phones, all electronic gadgets, all distractions, give yourself absolutely a solid examination environment, guys. So this is again a screen which kind of mirrors the mock exam, right? So you have a calculator. Okay. Even in the exams, guys, you are not required to carry anything of yours except for a passport and 1 more ID proof. So you need 2 ID proofs. But also they will be giving you calculator and a rough sheet to write if you want to, but you need to contact with them before you are appearing in the exam so that you tell them that you will be needing the calculator so that they don't run out of the stock on that day. So in Becker's, they also have your flashcards. Now, some students purchase these also, kind of a last minute notes. I never use these, but I've known that some students buy these flashcards as well. Then there is also a section called final review. It's more of a summarized version of the books. I personally believe that your main textbook, if you kind of read that 3 times, that becomes a final review for us. But in case you still want a concise version, you can go for that. And then of course there are more than 8,000 MCQs over there. EduPristine, I think that's where I come from for last 8 years. Now, luckily what has happened is over the last 2 or 3 years, EduPristine has partnered with the global education group called Attilim. And that is the same group under which even Becker's have the partnership with. So technically, EduPristine is a partner with Becker's now anyways. So you can see that about Attilim, it's about, having almost, having different offices across various almost 150 plus states now. And there are more than 150,000 students as of today who have been kind of trained by Attilim, right? And of course, EduPristine within itself founded was in 2008 and have like 4 or 5 cities offices in India, including your Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, and so on. So there are certain add-ons along with the CPA or any course you're doing with EduPristine. EduPristine also believes in a holistic development. So they will be providing help in not only in a placement, but also they will be working. There are specific dedicated team who will be having in-house sessions for soft skills. If you ask about my experience, guys, I would have taken more than 1,000 interviews. I would have in the corporates, and I would have rejected almost 700 to 800 candidates. And trust me, 70% of those rejections was due to communication skills. And I hope you understand. These days, communication is very important, very, very important. How fluent you can communicate, because almost every role is a client-facing role. So these soft skills training help your proficiency in speaking. They help you to kind of inculcate self-confidence, kind of empathize or presentation. So all that is something which is being provided by EduPristine as an add-on. Of course, there is a course guidance and support. What I can tell you is that, so if you join EduPristine for CPA, what you are getting? You're getting, of course, the entire Becker's material. There you have a choice of, I think you can go ahead for a lifetime access as well by paying some extra cost. And I strictly recommend people that you go for a lifetime access of Becker's, because it hardly costs you a little bit more, like a 30-40K or I think 40 or 50K more. I don't know. They will tell you about the cost. But if you go for a lifetime access, then at least even when you are qualified CPA, you can use the Becker's portal for checking updates, rules, regulations. That's education, right? That's education, that's knowledge. So with EduPristine, you will get the entire Becker's material, you will get the classes. Becker's will anyways have pre-recorded lectures. We also provide mentorship sessions where students can come up and ask their doubts. We also have a forum where it's a kind of an LMS forum where students can ask their queries, and the dedicated faculties respond to those queries on that forum. And also that in case you have any queries, even after today's session, you have any queries, you can note down that email at the bottom right, care@edupristine.com. So that's very important for you guys. This email ID, please note, care@edupristine.com. Right now, what about faculty and ratings? I have not even looked at my rating for long now, but I've known that students kind of hate me for torturing them, that you have to kind of do the course for 3 times. I prepare students that my own approach, that while you are practicing, we will prepare you that you score 90 plus in your home, because if you are scoring 90 plus in your home, then you are scoring easily 75 plus in the exam, right? So all the faculties, including myself, come from a versatile background, good industry experience. And of course, after every session, you as a student are requested to give the feedback. So this is average ratings which students give to across all the faculties at EduPristine, around 4.7 out of 5. It's decent, right? So placement assistance is very important. So EduPristine has an in-house team. They have a tie-up with various companies, HR department. So they have a first-hand information of some opportunities which may not be even in the job portals. Now, not only that, but they will also help you. For example, if you are a starter, you can ask for help for resume building. You can give your inputs, education details. They will help you to, kind of a frame, kind of an initial CV. And then, of course, you can work around. You can have your own style added to that. And they will also guide you how to prepare for the interview as part of the soft skills training as well. And then there will be some placement, leads as well. Leads means like openings, which comes to know. And of course, you have teaming with Becker's. EduPristine Becker's makes a very good combination, guys. I remember that last year, almost around like 14 months back, in the Feb or March in Delhi, there came to me a student who kind of attended half of my classes. Rest of the time he was preparing on his own. He said that, sir, I have completed the course twice. I'm scoring around 90 already. I have 4 or 3 weeks to go. What should I do? I said that you're already on the right track. Just go ahead with the 3rd time course. He said that, sir, problem is not there. Problem is not that. I said, then what is the problem? He said that I am targeting that Elja Watsells award. So there is a AI CPA award, Elja Watsells, where you get an award if you get score 95.5 or 96.5 or more in all the 4 subjects. So roughly around 96 plus in all the 4 subjects. I want to target that award. I said, that's doable. Definitely, if you are scoring so consistently, that's doable. He said, so what different should I do? I said that I think you should not do anything different. You should just continue what you are going to do. Last 4 weeks, gave a 3rd revision, also attempt all the mock exams and just be rock solid. Today is also a qualified chartered accountant though. At that time, he had his final exams pending. I think March 2020, almost 6 or 8 weeks later, he came back to me that he scored 97, 98, 98 and 97 in all the 4 subjects. He, as of my understanding, he as of now is the youngest Indian to achieve that award. His name is Chaitanya Luthra, has been an EduPristine student. You can look forward for his testimonials in I'm sure in YouTube or other videos. You can search around in Google. I think wonderful example set up for younger students that, nothing is unachievable, nothing is impossible. If you have a target, you can achieve that. He did that. He told me almost a month back that I'm eyeing the target, and he's there. In just 6 weeks before, he WhatsApped me his trophy, guys. He sent me his trophy, what he received, this trophy, a big certificate from US CPA, engraved his name and the Elja Watsels Award. Look at the feeling or a proud feeling that guy must have had at that time, right? So anyways, guys, I think this was it. I'm sure you got a lot of knowledge from this session, whatever you guys were looking for. And I'm sure in case you have your queries, you can email to care@edupristine.com. But as I promised, I took almost 45 minutes. Last 10-15 minutes, whatever may have. Any questions, I'm open for that. If you have any questions, please mention in the Q&A box. Any questions, guys, from your side? Let me know, please. That's from my side. It's all Q&A now. Any questions, guys? Let me know. Okay, even if you don't have any questions as of now, that's absolutely fine, friends. If you have some questions later on, you can mention on the write down an email on the care@edupristine.com, or definitely those of you who have attended the today's session, the coordinators will themselves reach out to you. I'm pretty sure that you can have your doubts clear. In case you have eligibility related questions, definitely you can ask that specifically to them as well. I think I can see that there are no such queries as of now. So, I think that's pretty much it from my side, guys. Thanks a lot for joining in. I hope today's session was pretty much helpful for all of you. And I'm actually really excited to kind of welcome you on board with EduPristine and with CPA as a course selection. So good round of applause for everyone to be here today, guys. Good round of applause for everyone, right? So good round of applause, whoever was present today. See you guys. I'm sure we'll meet again in some batches. Looking forward for all of you to make the right decision and the most important decision of your career. Thanks a lot. This is Manobha Verma again, signing off for the day. Best of luck. Have a nice day ahead. Take care, guys. Cheers.